Okay, so to continue our coverage over the Dawn of X era of X-Men comics, we do pick up with another giant-size issue, and this time it's giant-size Nightcrawler. It's all about Nightcrawler, a fan-favorite character. Now, we do pick up with Nightcrawler right now, and he has a team of X-Men characters with them as they go over to the abandoned X mansion, because we have to remember at this point in the Dawn of X era of X-Men comics, the X-Men no longer live in the X mansion. They live on COPPA, and so the old X mansion is abandoned and creepy. Now, the reason why Nightcrawler has brought a team here is because there is a COPPA gate, which means that mutants can come here to see the old mansion if they want to. But either way though, COPPA has been detecting mutants coming to the gate, but then no mutant walks through. And so it's kind of like, why in the world is COPPA detecting mutants, but no actual mutant is using the gate to come over to COPPA? And so that is why Nightcrawler is here. Now with Nightcrawler, he has magic, he has Cypher, and Cypher has the ability to speak almost any language in the universe. And then he has Eye-Boy, because Eye-Boy has different sets of eyes all over his body, and each eye has a different kind of vision. So like night vision, heat vision, the list goes on. But this team is trying to figure out what in the world is going on in this abandoned mansion. Why are mutants coming to the gate, but they're not walking through? That is the big problem right there. Now, like every single kind of creepy, scary, haunted house, haunted mansion storyline goes, as our heroes are walking through the place trying to find more clues on what in the world is going on, well, that is the moment they begin to hear sounds, and all the sounds are coming from different directions, so they have no idea which way to go or which way an attack could come from. And so right now they're worried about being attacked by an unknown force. Now Lockheed, the pet dragon usually owned by Kitty Pryde, is with this team, and of course he is freaking out so much that he begins to breathe fire all over the place as a way to kind of like, see if he's able to actually hit the enemy. But of course, Nightcrawler stops him because Lockheed is burning trees and vines in this building, which could lead to a big fire, which could mean it could lead to more problems for our heroes down the road. Now, right after Nightcrawler is able to stop Lockheed from freaking out, well, that is the moment you have Nightcrawler realize he sees something, and what he sees is Thunderbird. Now, that is huge because Thunderbird has been dead ever since 1975, 1976. Because remember, Thunderbird first appeared in Giant Size X-Men #1 alongside with the rest of the first new X-Men team like Wolverine, Nightcrawler, Storm, Colossus, Banshee, Sunfire. Now with that being said, right after Thunderbird was introduced to us, he died like 2 books later, and he has been dead ever since then. Now he does get brought back to life many different ways, but he always dies once again. And so with that being said, with Nightcrawler and his team being inside this haunted mansion and looking around, they're like, wait a second, we're seeing ghosts now, because we have no idea if Jonathan Hickman has actually brought him back to life yet. We have no idea at all, because Jonathan Hickman has not showed us Thunderbird in almost any book that I know of up to this point. Now, with that being said though, right after Nightcrawler sees Thunderbird and tries to go see him, he disappears. But then Nightcrawler sees somebody else. And that somebody else is Rachel Summers, the daughter of Cyclops and Jean Grey from an alternate timeline. But she looks different. She does not look correct. And you'll see what I mean here in a moment. The reason why I say she does not look right, because look at her outfit right now. Rachel Summers does not wear that outfit at all anymore. That was the outfit she wore in the timeline she came from, which is better known as Days of Future Past, where of course in that future, mutants have lost. Humans have lost. The Sentinels have basically taken over all of North America. But also she was a hound. A hound was used as a way to hunt down other mutants. And so the outfit she is wearing is the same one she wore in that future timeline where she was a hound. And so for Nightcrawler, he's kind of like, one, why is she here? Two, why is she scared of us? And three, why is she wearing that outfit? What in the world is going on in this building? And so you do have Nightcrawler try to chase her down. Now, when he's able to get close to her, the language she speaks is an unknown language. And for Cypher, he does not even know that language, but he's very intrigued by it. But things get worse for our heroes, because as soon as as soon as Cypher touches a wall in this tunnel that they follow Rachel Summers into, you have Cypher just fall through the wall and disappear. And so now it's kind of like, what is really happening in the abandoned X mansion? What in the world is going on? But then after that, we see Cypher has apparently arrived in a new area of the X mansion. And this area does not look like earlier parts we saw of the X mansion. Like someone has changed things in the X mansion to kind of fit their needs. But either way, with Cypher being in this new room, that is the moment he sees something in the distance. And what he sees is a bright red orb. And you have Cypher get closer and closer. And Cypher knows, like we know, when it comes to scary things like this, a haunted house, a haunted mansion, when you find some random room with some kind of bright color thing in the middle of it, things could only get worse or things could get better. You never know. It could go either way. But getting back over to Nightcrawler, Magic, and Eye-Boy, who has this clone of Rachel Summers with them, you begin to have Nightcrawler ask Rachel Summers, what is happening here? What's going on here in the X mansion? And that is the moment you have Rachel Summers begin to say, help me. I have traveled across planets, galaxies, but I'm stuck here. But then as she continues on, she says, we are stuck here. And so it went from her to we. And that right there confuses Nightcrawler. He's like, wait, we, that means there's more of you, which means you're not really Rachel Summers, like we all knew she wasn't. But that is the moment you have the body of Rachel Summers begin to break down. And when I say break down, it breaks down to about hundreds of different little small bug-like creatures. Now, these bug-like creatures, we actually saw them back in our coverage over Chris Claremont's run on the X-Men back in the 1970s, 80s, and 90s. And these creatures go by one specific name. They are known as Sidarian hunters. Now, they're usually used because they're bounty hunters by other alien races who want them to hunt down something or someone for them. Now, with that being said though, when we first met these creatures back in Chris Claremont's run on the X-Men, they attacked the X-Mansion, but of course the X-Men blew up the X-Mansion as a way to kind of kill them off. And so with that, it seems like maybe, just maybe, some of those Sidarian hunters did not die. They lived, and they have been staying in the X-Mansion this whole time throughout Marvel Comics ever since then, back in Uncanny X-Men number, I want to say 154. Now, getting back over to Cypher, we do see Cypher right now talking to some other Sidarian hunters. And with them having the ability to speak almost any language in the universe, he's able to understand what they are saying and why they're attacking this X-Men team. And apparently because they are very territorial. And so it's kind of like, you're in our territory, please leave. But then you have Cypher say, before we leave, let me do one more thing to help you guys out. But getting back over to the X-Men team, the rest of this X-Men team that came to the X-Mansion, they are fighting against the Sidarian hunters, and they are struggling because Eye-Boy doesn't really have any powers, and so that leaves Nightcrawler and Magic to fight against all of these creatures by their own. But you did have Nightcrawler say, listen, Magic, use your magic abilities to go find Cypher, because when you find Cypher, we can get the heck out of here. And so you do have Magic actually leave to go find Cypher. When she does find Cypher, she does learn one big secret about Cypher, that apparently he has been hiding an old X-Men character, and his name is, of course, Warlock. Now, Warlock is an old X-Men character, and matter of fact, I will explain Warlock later on in later videos, but Warlock being here is very huge because for a long time and to a lot of X-Men characters, Warlock was dead or in stasis or just no longer around, but now he's here and alive and well. But after that though, once you have Magic realize that Cypher knew that Warlock was back, you have Cypher say, listen, you can't tell anybody. None of the other X-Men characters could know that Warlock is alive. On top of that right there, listen, I think I know how we can handle our problem we have right now with the Sidarian hunters, because this is their territory. And so you do have Magic take Cypher and Warlock back to Nightcrawler and Eye-Boy. Now when she does, Warlock is back hiding on the arm of Cypher. So Nightcrawler and Eye-Boy, they have no idea that Warlock is there. But either way though, you do have Cypher tell Nightcrawler and Warlock and Magic that he knows why they're being attacked, because this is their territory. But there was a mutant here, and that mutant is right now being captured or held in some kind of stasis bubble. And so with Cypher opening up the stasis bubble, we come to find out who was kept inside there. And that person was Lady Mastermind, the daughter of the original Mastermind. Now, just like her father, she is able to play with someone's senses. So she's able to make you think that you actually are tasting something for real, that you actually hear something for real, or you see something standing right in front of you like it's really real. But in reality, it's not real. You're not tasting a brownie. You're not seeing a brownie. You don't hear someone calling your name. It's just her playing with your senses. Now, she is more powerful than her actual father. Mastermind is powerful, but Lady Mastermind is even more powerful. But you do have Cypher explain what happened here. And really he says, listen, these Sidarian hunters are not the same ones you X-Men fought a long time ago. These are the children of those you fought so long ago. They were in eggs these whole time, but once we have left the X-Mansion to go over to COPPA, their eggs hatched and they took over this place and made their place, or this place, their home. It's their territory. And they felt like with us being here, we were kind of invading their space. Now, they do explain why they were holding Lady Mastermind, because right when they hatched and took over the place, she was coming here to use the gate of COPPA to go over to COPPA Island. But right when she walked in, they attacked her and put her inside a stasis bubble. But then her powers went crazy and made them go crazy. And so that's why everything was going on here in this X-Mansion. It's explained to us by Cypher. But either way, you do have Cypher say, hey, I told them they can keep the X-Mansion. We'll go ahead and move on. And of course, they're able to take Lady Mastermind with them. And that is how this story ends. And with that being said, please leave me a like down below and subscribe. Also, if you have any suggestions on books I should read, well, please let me know in the comments below, because you never know, your suggestion could be a future video down the road. Later, guys.